just stay here. How many people walk you? I'll be right back. I'll be here. At least they're gonna have to lie. I'll be right back.
They did. Sitting out of his pocket inside.
The breaker's not in our building. The breaker's on
And if I
wall that you
want it, I'll go.
Kroger's front yard. Whenever power needs to be, we always have a dump for that. Or it's yes, well, I do have to answer your question for like 2 minutes.
I was like,
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's a soft scan, but I imagine you don't have that many people now. It's like a massive pocket of it.
There's powers on inside.
I didn't realize that. It's not this one. This
Exactly.
These are the MVPs right here. These bottles.
there you go. I'm gonna figure out a way to put a holder, a drink holder on here. I've got a plan. Oh, watch out. I got a plan. Thank you, thank you. That would have been very sad. I might not have been interested in yeah. Really a long way down. I've got a plan though. I want to just take a koozie and just, actually I sew it on right here. Just sew a koozie right here.
I've always said that I wanted to. I usually work on Saturdays.
This might be a seating area.
Oh, I know. I went to the 50th anniversary Filipino piece. My best friend in high school. My best friend. I was at the first. So that's why I had to get Filipino. We had the party for people.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
All Filipino people.
No, what's funny is Aurora, I took Aurora to there's no Filipino people in this party. What's going on? I think I have
And then she said, this isn't
paella. Paella. Oh, I know. She had a good time. She had fun. Oh, she's dynamite. What did she say for older? She's like 21.
I don't know.
She was 21.
She always acts like she knows.
I know. Oh, she's had an amazing life. She's had an amazing life. She's had. One day when she watched, she got her with
On the live stream today, when they go back and watch it,
Probably like
pretty normal these days. They had like, I was back today. But yeah, if you want to right now,
I need to get wrong. Whatever that size. I don't know which one of those.
Yeah.
And I said it.
Yeah.
Oh, yay. What is that?
I know. Does anyone have an old iPhone that has a jack on it, the like input jack on the top? Yeah. Or randomly have an MP3 player on it. Okay. Not a big deal. Or just help me to get some music, but have it technically on.
stay after. Now I feel a lot of pressure for when I graduate high school. Why?
Were you on the Eastside Slowdown? Is that what you did?
Yeah, we were on a showdown. Yeah, Miles was out there too. Yeah. Miles got third.
Congrats! Yeah, I was 2 places away from running the crash over here. Because usually get that done like by, I think every day I was on that, every day the Eastside Slowdown, not showdown, slowdown was the farthest ever bike. I mean, I Eastside bike tickets, but yeah, they do it. Like a long run, I done like that, then every day I was like guiding to her.
They're like, "Ew, real water brother, how are you?"
matter how hardcore you are, like you'll always be. You never think you're very hardcore because you always, by the time you get to that level, you always think people like most people in my regular life say like, oh, you're biking 200 miles over 3 days, self-supported. Like that's crazy. When I was one of the slower people on the easier distance. And then even if you're crazy enough to do the showdown, like there's one guy that's doing like yo-yoing, using the whole thing back to back. There will always be someone crazy. You ever spotted that? Yeah. That's what I feel like backpacking.
What do you have? I almost brought your hat. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if they have to buy more drink tickets to get more drinks, or if it's someone that's just going to be free. No, I actually thought about it.
Oh, man,
I guess that's the race. You got burned out on the cycle. Yeah, Mount Bedell. Or not Mount Bedell.
yeah. I know, get out. You know, in the morning,
Literally just bought like a bike chair, or like a chair that like fits on my body. Like literally showed up like yesterday, sitting on my couch.
had a rough life.
No, I even drove my car yesterday. My truck.
2734, try that.
I've heard similar stories about take it easy in this actually it's just gonna get hot.
You brought the social ride by here. Yeah, remember that thing? I brought it here. We had the social ride. We got all these new people. Because our you're hitting things. We didn't have oh, you would like it? We only like 10 minutes.
You kind of pivoted, you know.
Oh, well, I'm really
Anyway, I had a copy of it and she read it. And she's like,
were you? Hot as hell. We usually go somewhere wet. Yeah, we usually stop by a splash pad. Oh, okay. Splash pad. Splash pad. Yeah, only 15 of the 34. Because they can't find them.
You're probably about to say what's that 80 or 54. Oh.
You need help with anything, Jordan? You good?
I think I'm good.
No, your impression of that is right.
Oh, okay. That.
Well, you know, some of those young guys are I didn't know. I actually bought it. I bought it. I tried. We had a good session. I held it by I'm not giving up. Yeah, you might get relegated. Well, I don't like that much anymore. So when did you start? So I started as a rider. You started in 2014? Well, as a rider. I know. I need to come back. Yeah. So, but I am back. Yeah, you know. Our friends. Yeah, my left one happens. Every year they can only get identified. So you're just doing Yeah. So anyway, I got him off. So you were afraid of bike? Yeah. You probably got a bad record. Yes, I did. Oh, what? Were you in the hospital? No. But I was in there. Well, so I got to go. My drive. How old were you? Okay. Oh, yeah. And I wrote it.
Just beans, pardon.
Director. Yeah. The director. Well, no, but the director. That's cool. Yes. Yeah, so I've learned
Okay.
but I don't ride it. Yes. Once you get that first time. Oh, that's yeah. Oh, yeah. When you're it's like, you can't ride.
Yeah.
20 years from now. This is 20 years from now. And like watching stuff is like 15% of the days. Like,
There was literally a video, there was like a whole line in,
Yeah, I got
literally a woman female, she was like, y'all are getting a croissant, are you? Like the Swiss croissant. They had one, she's like, okay, they had one left, and I'm not standing in the line. Yeah. And the rest of it was really
Oh, yeah.
So valid because we literally had been in line before and had like the one thing that we wanted.
there's one
Out
slice
from
of
in front of us.
carrot.
Yeah.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Bike people, say what? All right, this is sort of your 5-minute warning. Get situated. I hope you have your snacks.
get your seat. We do have a couple of extra pieces of cardboard up here that are a little soft. If anyone is needing seating situated, let me know. I'll try to help out as best I can. I think there's also some chairs back here that we could pull up. But yeah, we'll get started in just a couple of minutes. This is your 5-minute warning.
Are you home? One day I went exactly your way. I forgot it.
Beautiful. I just a month ago I rode
Yeah, I'll walk around.
But I didn't have a microphone. I must have been like this year. I like selling this sliding out of old fence board. I also learned my lesson. He's like a good thing.
That wasn't.
Look good as art. Like, it doesn't look good as like decorations. I know, but like they created like this other thing. Maybe that's what I was looking at. Like it was like they're like $200. Who do they think their customers are? What do they think they are?
I forget, you know, like I'm leading him around on the bike ride and I'll just go there and he'll be like, oh yeah, that's right.
You know where I'm going to go? I rarely get out there. No, you know, I rarely work out there. I'd rather go there. It's a little more fun.
Oh yeah, we went. We went on one. We were going to go to South.
Okay. When you left, I was following on the map.
Once we got out there, I didn't know how to get anybody anywhere, so thank God you did. I was like, oh, you live out here. Lead us somewhere. And we were going to go to Celos, but for some reason we went.
Y'all went over to
Another. No, somewhere out there.
I know y'all wound up over at the
Probably just this one.
oh, never mind. We just picked it up.
It was one I never heard of. Brenda knows.
Okay. I know y'all went to Brentwood Park, right?
Oh, that was our park stop.
Your park stop, right?
I'm leaving next Saturday.
Saturday?
Hopefully it'll be good.
Oh, next Saturday I'm going to do it. This upcoming one, so let's see. In Missouri. Trail 30 miles up, and we stop at like a little town, so we do they have a music festival. I'm super excited. The temperature's going to be like 67. Yeah, it's going to, right now it's like 70 something, like 75.
Bad batch. Yeah. That kind of base flavor, that base flavor does not agree.
It's going to be like, it says when you look it up on the map, it's always like,
have to stop, walk around a little bit so you don't get off.
I'm probably going to be up there almost a week.
One of the things that
That guy,
it's numbers. Like the day off.
So my dad,
He's friends with he just moved out there because his girlfriend's going to vet school out there. So I'm going to try and hang out with them while I'm out there. Yeah, there's some people out there now, yeah. Oh, they're for free. It just snowed. It just snowed like 3 weeks ago. Not even a whole month ago. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I wish I was here for the what are you gonna do? Do you have a route already planned?
I kind of, not really, but no, I'm not gonna totally wing it because I want to do the
Irwinson. What's going on there?
You're gonna tear it down.
What? The Frank Irwinson.
The big rounding.
Up there off the highway?
Yeah, they're gonna tear that down.
What?
Like, it's there.
Why?
Because they're gonna start using water. What was that? Moody Anthony. They made the Moody. Is that in the park or next to the park? Yeah. It's there. Yeah. I'm so confused about that. But anyway, apparently that replaces the Irwin Center, and they're gonna tear it down. So anyway, I think we're gonna start at Thunderbird. And we never started there, but that's good.
Good spot. Yeah, that's a great spot.
And then we'll cross over, and then we'll ride a circle around the Frank Irwin Center. And I'm gonna tell him to put in the, that we're gonna ride around. And then we're gonna. I saw my first concert there.
Of all ages and all abilities bicycle network here in the city. And that would span every district side. We're going to see amazing facilities that are going to be built out. But some of those facilities, we in the active transportation community are not real pleased with, because a lot of those will be shared use paths. For instance, we will not be taking the synergy between transit, walking, and biking is going to be absolutely incredible. And this city is making enormous strides in getting that done. And believe me, as we start to build out those networks, it's going to be a painful place to drive an automobile. I don't know how many of y'all drive a car today, but it is absolutely excruciating to drive down South Lamar. We had to go get stone at a stone yard this afternoon. And it was one of the most painful drives that I've done in a long, long time. And we were going, just think if we could drive our cargo bike to the stone yard and pick up 150 pounds of stone, what a much more pleasant experience would be. Well, that is what we aspire to see happen in Austin, Texas. And we feel like the way to do that is community advocacy. You know, we have been very effective as a fairly small cohort of people that have advocated for the $720 million bond in 2016. We gained $160 million in 2018 that was all allocated towards Vision Zero improvements. And that is things like the pedestrian hybrid beacons that you see in a lot of places. That's a lot of sidewalk ramps that didn't exist before, so somebody in a wheelchair had no accessibility to a lot of blocks in even downtown Austin. And then we had a huge breakthrough in 2020 when the transit bond was $7.6 billion. There were a lot of people in the community, a lot of people in our city government that said, no way do we want to see any kind of active transportation on this ballot, because they were afraid that it would have a negative impact on the transit bond. Well, through a lot of work and a lot of great support from Mayor Adler.
Lisa is amazing. She is an awesome artist. She even worked on A Scanner Darkly, which I love.
She looked Petra up and down with a brief, wordless scowl. She herself appeared to be in her 70s, old enough to be my mother or Petra's grandmother. Her hair was snow white at the top and dull blonde at the bottom, as if she woke up old one day a couple years ago, or maybe it was just grown out box color. Hold on, she said curtly, and disappeared into the house. There's a big crash a few miles from here. We called 911, but we haven't seen an ambulance yet, Petra called into the gap of the door. Everyone looked real hurt, she continued. I couldn't tell if they were breathing. I hope so. We're really far from our cars. We parked in Gonzales. The woman returned with a hunting rifle and pushed open the door. We cleared out of her way, way out of her way. She was tall, big, she had a gun. The purple linen muumuu and rainbow sandals she wore made her no less intimidating. She had chipped pearlescent toenail polish. Monster grandma. She marched over to her truck, saying to us, "Y'all climb in the back. Leave your bicycles here." And then, after a pause, "Keep the helmets on." Seriously? I looked at Petra. Neither of us moved. "Get in," the woman said and pointed. Holy fuck. Petra moved her bike and climbed into the truck bed obediently. Jet followed. I took one last look around and climbed up too. What choice did I have? My face turned hot. I avoided eye contact when the woman opened the cab door and ushered her dogs in. The truck rocked when she slid onto the ancient bench seat. Now, only a thin panel of glass separated us from our abductor. Great. The woman did a quick three-point and assumed we were headed in the direction from which we came. Petra, Jet, and I rode in silence until Jet whisper shouted, "Look!" Yes, we knew the cleaved tree, and then the bend, the hill, the wind. The fallen cyclists were just yards away, and when the truck made the fallen cyclists were just yards away when the truck made a sudden hard left. Petra and I collided into poor Jet. Then the truck stopped abruptly and backed up a few feet such that it was parked perpendicular to the road. The woman stepped out. She pressed one side of her body against the truck to maintain her balance. She must have weighed more than 200 pounds, and even she had a hard time standing upright. The three of us half climbed out, half fell out of the truck bed. She motioned to us to help her pull a long hose from the cab, about 8 inches in diameter. Once we had uncoiled several yards, she passed it under the truck and, head down, walked around to the other side to pull it through. I saw her dogs run off into the field, but the woman seemed unconcerned. Monster Grandma leaned into the truck bed from where she stood and flipped a switch on the side of its toolbox. I couldn't hear it, but the vibration made me think it was some sort of generator. Suddenly, the hose lurched, and pink foam gushed out. The woman straddled the hose, still fighting to keep upright with the wind blowing at her. Foam splashed back at the truck. She turned, flipped off the switch, and pounded the side of the truck in frustration. I had no idea what was going on. Petra and Jet looked just as bewildered. The woman picked up the hose again and dragged it lifelessly toward the easement. She gestured for us to follow. Reluctantly, we abandoned the truck, which was our windshield, and stepped out into the flurry. The woman stumbled to a fire ant clearing, knelt over the hole. She aligned the openings and motioned for Petra to take the hose from her. Then she grabbed my arms as if I were a small child and had me hold the hose as well, just behind Petra. Jet anticipated her next silent instruction and grabbed hold of the hose behind me. The large woman made her way back to the truck, and I held my breath, bracing myself for when she turned the hose back on. The hose kicked wildly, and a forceful pink stream gushed out. Petra was strong. The end of the hose remained at the mouth of the anthill. I imagined foam flooding an enormous network of subterraneous tunnels. Based on true events. I wasn't wrong, but I couldn't have imagined how right I was. A good while passed, but then, suddenly and without warning, dozens of pink geysers shot up in the fields around us. Their trajectories elbowed, and large pink globules made horizontal rain that splattered against a wall of nothing. A dirty pink plain developed before our eyes, slicing its way across the fields and the road. Thin tributaries dribbled toward the source of the vacuum, the reason for the wind, a hole in the middle of the sky, mere feet above the cyclist. Everything was wrong. The entire landscape was a mess of gray dust and pink mud. We looked like we had just been dunked in goop and powdered with gray-white dirt. Nasty old dumpster donuts. I was cold, it was loud, and everything smelled exactly like that industrial-sized pink soap they used to refill the dispensers in public school restrooms. Is that what the pink stuff was? Jet mouthed, "Whoa." I looked up. Pink sludge belched from the sky hole. It squirted a 20-foot stream before thickening into a dough. Marbled pink and gray blobs tumbled along a vertical drop and deposited where the fallen cyclists laid helplessly. Even if they were dead, which I prayed they were not, it seemed irreverent and disrespectful to allow the sky to poop on them. I abandoned the hose and scrambled to where they were lying. Not one of them had moved since Petra and I saw them last. I wasn't very strong. I spotted a weight weenie, probably a good hill climber, and slid my arms under his armpits. I lifted his upper body from behind and dragged him toward the truck. I opened the tailgate and surprised myself when I successfully lifted him into the truck bed. I was so short, I shouldn't have been able to do that. Must have been the adrenaline. Petra and Jet abandoned the hose as well and followed my lead. We managed to get half the cyclists into the truck before the woman saw we had abandoned posts. She looked at us, then the erratic, raging hose, and then back at us again. Finally, she chose the hose. She wrestled it down rodeo style and stuffed the end back into the ant hole. The geyser sprayed with renewed vigor. Once the last cyclist was safely slumped in the bed of the truck, it wasn't clear what the three of us should do. The woman had the keys, so we couldn't go anywhere. I looked down at my arm. The pink goo that coated it was speckled with 100 little curled up dead fire ant bodies. I just then noticed the wind had died down. The sky hole was plugged with a pink crust. The ground hole was capped by a lopsided abscess. It was eerily quiet. Monster Grandma grunted and walked back to the truck with heavy footsteps. Wet purple linen clung to her big belly and legs. She flipped off the pink stuff pump and turned a wheel inside the cab that retracted the hose. She then dug around for something on the floorboard, her gun. The three of us watched her load. She took aim at the sky zit. Bang! The pink blob dislodged and tumbled to the ground. It smacked the dirt like a rotten watermelon. She turned and shot the anthill. Dust kicked where the bullet struck, and the pink pimple busted into a small explosion of puffy pieces. Grandma unloaded, locked the safety, and marched back to her truck without a word. Then she half climbed in and grabbed the CB radio. She spoke in some kind of trucker jargon and hung the mic back on its mouth. "Y'all climb back in," she directed. Petra, Jet, and I awkwardly squatted in spaces between lifeless people. The dogs came running. The woman whistled and pointed to the field. The dogs turned and ran toward the herd of cows, still huddled near the fence. They looked like massive plastic figurines being covered in putty pink as they were. Grandma started the engine and we headed back up the hill. The truck jostled us harshly as we drove back over the cattle guard. The old woman parked in front of her garage door. Petra, Jet, and I sat silently in a pool of sticky pink mud and lifeless bodies. I was too exhausted to be miserable. We watched wearily as the woman grabbed her gun and disappeared into the house. So this is it? Dogs barked in the distance, and I saw the cows had been herded to the near field. Just then the woman reemerged carrying a cardboard box. She set it on the lowered tailgate. Then she picked up one of the many small plastic bottles labeled Pickle Power. She pushed the cyclist from slumped to seated and gently tilted back his head. His jaw hung slack, and she poured a couple ounces of fluorescent yellow-green into his mouth. I watched her pull away and wait expectantly. A few moments later, he coughed. The guy looked dazed, but wow! The woman gave the top edge of the box a quick pat and said, "Y'all know what to do?" Petra answered for us, "Yeah, I think so." The old woman gave Petra a nod. Then she looked me square in the eyes. She raised a clenched fist up to her heart and pop, middle finger, "My cows."
Thank you so much, Lisa. That was awesome. I need to grab a program. Sorry. All right. Next, we have another special guest, Laura Carbonneau. Forgive me if I'm saying that wrong. Hi, welcome. This is Laura. She's Carbonell. Woo! She's going to talk about Bike Kitty, an org that she recently started. So I'm super excited. Also, by the way, I'm sure she'll let you know that there are goodies back there in case y'all want to check them out. But I'm so excited. Thank you for coming.
Hi, my name is Laura. Welcome to my TED Talk. Have you ever been stuck with family in the middle of nowhere and bored out of your mind? I was once in the middle of nowhere with my husband's family, and there was literally only one thing to do outside, and it required a boat. The only other thing going on was TV. As I was flipping through the channels, I got caught up in images of France, and it turned out to be the Tour de France, which I had never watched before. I immediately got sucked in by the drama of the racers going up the mountains, trying to avoid getting taken out by spectators, and of course, the beautiful countryside and villages of France. I became obsessed with bikes. It changed my life. So basically, we started doing charity rides and eventually did an actual stage of the Tour de France, which is a thing you can actually do as an amateur in France. And did, got into a little bit of racing here and there. Of course, I was already in my 30s at this point, so racing at the high level was not happening, but that's okay. So after a few years, I noticed that a lot of people that were bike people had a lot of extra clothes that they had collected over the years, and I know I had a lot of extra clothes, like specific to cycling, and wanted to, try to do something with it. Like I kept thinking, oh man, you can't just give it to Goodwill. You can't, like maybe you know someone, but the chances of you knowing someone that needs your size or whatever is pretty small. And in 2018, one of the commentators for NBC Sports, Paul Sherwin, passed away in Africa where he lived. I learned that he had actually become really involved in trying to build bike racing as a sport in Africa, which is super daunting. There's like very little, in the way of bike shops even, like just, of course there's a lot of poverty, but there's a lot of, very athletic people. And so they've been building Team Africa Rising for the last 10 or 12 years. So I contacted them and I said, hey, do you guys need extra kit? And they were like, yeah, but most of the time people send us like large sizes, because I don't know if you guys know, but there's this thing called MAMMALS, which is an acronym for middle-aged male in Lycra. And I was like, I actually know a lot of racers, and they're small. Like, they're like what we like to say, skinny bitches. And so they're like, great, we can definitely use that. So I started sending them things, like did a kit drive, but of course then the pandemic hit and everything kind of stopped. Everyone, group rides, it's already hard to send things to Africa, and it became pretty much impossible. But of course, last year things started to open up. I started thinking about it again, and I was like, it's not just Africa. There's lots of other places and other organizations or just individuals, even in our own community, that could use possibly some of this stuff. So again, at Christmas time, I was sitting with family, bored. And on top of it, I had COVID, so I couldn't even like go ride my bike. So I started thinking and I started planning, and I came up with a name for my project, and I decided Bike Kitty. Bike Kitty makes sense. It's cute. People like it. Kit is the name for cycling clothes. You know, we call it Bike Kit. So Bike Kitty. So I just was like, okay, I'm gonna start an Instagram account, because that's what you do. And just do it, you know, just get the ball rolling. And the ball has been rolling, and it's been fun. And as a bonus to me, so yeah, we've sent stuff to indigenous groups in Arizona, people here in Austin. I'm actually giving away stuff. There is so much stuff. I don't know if you know, Americans have too much stuff. It's true for cyclists. So, you know, the other purpose, of course, is reduce, reuse, recycle. So, you know, please take a look at my stuff. And the next time you're sitting around bored, you know, maybe think about that you might change your life or change someone else's life. Thank you.
Hey, hi, hello. If we haven't met yet, my name's Tawny. I'm your friendly neighborhood yoga teacher and bike nerd. And I know that there's two ways you can make your body feel nice on a bike. One of those is to practice your yoga for cyclists, for my friends who have come already. I'm looking at you, Zach. And the other is to get your bike fit for your body, so your biomechanics of your body and your bike are in alignment. So I have here this evening my friend Josh. He's a bike fitter from Buda, and he's going to tell you a little bit about his work and what he does and his story.
All right, probably won't be able to top Tony's sweet intro. So I'm Josh. My company's called Don Coyote Cycling. I'm an independent bike fitter out of Buda. I don't work for a shop. I'm not trying to really sell anything. There's nothing in it for me to kind of push parts on you, and that's really by design. So I started cycling a few years ago, but only really, well, my whole life I've ridden bikes, but I really started to try to like be good at it a few years ago. And come pandemic time, I was really trying to get out, but I had maybe the numbest ass and the numbest hands of anybody I've ever like sort of spoken to. I'm like, really, you don't get done and like you can't walk right, or you sort of like have trouble sitting upright? They're like, no, that's not good. You shouldn't be doing that. Fine, cool. So I went, I looked for a bike fit. Some bike fits can cost as much as a new bike. I'm sure they're very worth it. I have no way of really telling because I have not gotten one. But what I did go and I did look for, I got, and a lot of the problems that I had still persisted. So some of the things that were really bothering me still kept going. And I decided to like just sort of look around and see what I could do to mitigate that for myself. Started looking around online, and the more I learned what I wasn't getting for one, but also I learned what I needed to do. So I went through all the trouble of finding somewhere to teach me, to get some training, grabbed a level 2 from an institute up in Boston. And the irony is you can't really fit yourself. There's no real way to sort of like take care of yourself while you're on a bike. So I didn't do that for myself, but I ended up meeting a great group of people and being able to finally get something really great. So my bike now I can say fits me. I ride, I can do 50, I can do 60, I can do 100 miles, and I can stand up afterwards. That's great. My ass has returned to me, and I can return your ass to you too. So just trying to help people out. I don't think I'm crazy priced. I'm trying not to be. And again, it's just a service that I wanted to provide, something I really feel like is so useful, and it really changed the way that I interact with my bike. It really changed what riding a bike was for me. And so I'm just trying to help other people do that as well. I'm here tonight in the back. I've got a little booth or a table that's got some stickers. It's got my card on it. If you have any questions at all, I should be here for most of the night. Just feel free to ask. I think there's an intermission coming up. If you have any questions, if there's anything bothering you, just bring it up. No sales, just answers. Cool? Thank y'all.
Woo! Thank you, Josh. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. We are at the intermission point. So I'm super excited, and I want to just mention a couple of things. One, thank you all so much for lending your ears. One of the things I love about having the event here is that it's just like so much more of an intimate setting. There's not like, you know, a bar or anything else kind of going on throughout here, and it makes a huge, huge difference to have y'all really tuned in to the stories and really just connecting, because that's the whole point here, is to kind of like connect and hear stories. So I hope you're enjoying it. I hope that you have sweated all of the toxins out and you're feeling really good and you're getting ready to just kind of like stand up and stretch, shake it off a little bit. So as Laura and Josh mentioned, they are here. Also, Hill is here with Safe Streets Austin, and they're kind of back over there in this little community nook. And there's also beverages, so whether or not you made a donation tonight, please go get a beverage, stay hydrated. I don't want anyone to feel like they don't need or can't get a drink over there, so please go get a drink. Stay cool. We'll take an intermission for about 20-ish minutes. I am going to work on getting some music. We've had a few technical difficulties, which is why the projector is way, or the screen is way over there. Usually it's kind of over here, so I hope y'all are rolling with that. But thank you again for coming. We're going to take a break now. Enjoy some beverages. Also, there's more swag. Also, wild cards. Anyone thinking about doing a story? Wild card story?
Wild card.
Okay, 10 of you in the back. Wait. 4 of you in the front, I think. Marion? Marion? Okay, thank you to all the storytellers so far. We're looking forward to a few more storytellers to come, so stay tuned. Enjoy the intermission.
Yeah.
Sound is amazing. On that note, thank you to Jordan, who's behind the curtain over here, working the sound. Woo! Appreciate you. Appreciate the super still air also helping with the sound. Also appreciate Eric back over here doing the audio so that y'all can watch this live on YouTube anytime you want. If you're a storyteller, you can watch this for years to come and tell people you told a live story at Bikestorynight. Also, thank you to Megan back there. Thanks to Eddie, Larissa, manning the bar over here, womaning the bar.
Womaning.
Give it up. Also wanted to just quickly mention, so there's the wildcard submissions. You still have time. I know we asked you to submit before intermission, but we're going to give a few more minutes for y'all to get in those submissions. Otherwise, we'll have the wild cards a little bit later, as well as an opportunity for y'all that might have something you want to talk about that's hopefully bike related, preferably bike related, but any kind of plug you want. If you want to talk about someone's GoFundMe, if you want to talk about a ride you're doing, if you want to talk about something fun, going on in Austin, essentially, you are welcome to come up here. Any, event or thing that you're doing, please feel free. We're gonna give you all 42 seconds. Not gonna let you talk too much up here, but on that, because we're, primarily here for storytelling. So that's also an opportunity to look forward to. I know that there's a few people who are going to do plugs for sure. Also, we have the raffle coming up a little bit later. I don't want y'all to forget. You don't have to be present to win. So if you made a donation tonight, you do have a chance to win. 3 chances to win. All right. I wanted these things to get plugged in. Whoever plugged these in, oh my gosh. We have, wait, hold on. Magic. We have 3 prizes. One of them is like a grand prize. It's got a bike kit or bike tool bag or flat kit bag. See, I need one of these things. I don't even know what it's called. So it's one of those bags that you can attach to your bag, your bike, that you can put your tube in, your tire lever, your multi-tool, your patch kit, snacks, things like that. We have 3 chances for you to win those. Oh, also it comes with a safety pizza. If you didn't know, Eastside Pedal Pushers is one of the few, if only, I think, dealer for safety pizzas, and I freaking love those things. You get to decorate it yourself. So anyway, look forward to that. Also, without further ado, speaking of Eastside Pedal Pushers, let's have Lee come up to the stage. Just gonna tell you a little bit about this wonderful place we have here.
Right, thank you. And thank y'all for coming out this evening. I don't particularly have just one story that I would really wanted to tell tonight, but I have two points that I wanted to make. Well, things that I've learned through cycling. Both of them actually came about when I went on my first bike tour in 1995. I was a very, very, very shy young man in 95. I guess I was about 24, and I left Austin in late June and rode through East Texas, up through Arkansas and the little tip of Missouri, across Illinois, across Michigan. Might not have been the most scenic tour, but I got to check out lots of cornfields and soybean fields in Illinois. They all seem to have these little Monsanto signs. Didn't really know who or what Monsanto was at that point, but anyhow. I made my way to this tiny, tiny town right on Lake Ontario called Bloomfield. Ended up making really close friends with a couple who owned a bike shop called Bloomfield Bicycle Company. I think Hill Abel, if he's still here, he knows those folks, Rick and Katie. And they've made a yearly pilgrimage out to West Texas. They started helping out at the mountain bike race that's now doesn't happen anymore. It turned from a mountain bike race to just like a mountain bike, kind of a party ride weekend out in Big Bend Ranch State Park. But anyhow, those are the folks that I mostly attribute to getting me on the path of learning how to work on bikes. And the other thing, and that's the long way to get to that first point, is my trip up to Ontario and that bike trip in general, because I didn't have one of these, I was pretty much forced to rely on paper maps and the kindness of strangers. I had to go into convenience stores, ask for directions. That kind of forced me to get out of my really shy shell. And I think it also helped me as as a male. I think a lot of us tend to not want to ask questions and not appear like we don't know something. And so that was really kind of a thing. It was like, well, I don't know where the hell I am or where's a good place to camp or anything like that. So I had to ask lots and lots of questions, and it, gradually, I think I became a little bit less shy. I'm still not so good at public speaking, but that's another episode. The other thing, and this is what I really learned from Rick and Katie, those folks that have the little bike shop in Bloomfield. I went on lots of trail rides with them up there. They know all those trails like the back of their hands, and they had, gosh, I feel like it was a Tuesday evening and maybe like a Saturday evening ride. I'm not exactly sure, but on all those, or most of those rides, a lot of those rides, I'll say, this would have been late July, early August, maybe August into September, because I ended up staying with them for a couple of months. But they would always point out plants that they knew that were growing around there. And I remember especially one time, Katie grabbed a puffball. I don't know if y'all know what a puffball is. It's like it's a mushroom, fungus. Maybe, fairly decently sized, white. Took it home, sliced it up, sauteed it in butter. It's delicious. And I just thought to myself, wow, I couldn't do that at home in Austin. I don't know what grows around there. It really got me excited about the fact that I could learn about plants that grow around me and really become a lot more familiar with the terrain that I exist in. So once I came back to Austin, got a job so that I'd have something to pay the bills, but I started to slowly get into learning about some of the plants that grew around here, and I ended up getting a job at a plant nursery, a native plant nursery, so I learned all about lots of things that grow around here, yuccas and
Yopon.
Thank you, yopons, exactly. And anyhow, so I like to think about those two things. How if you, and don't get me wrong, I'm not here to condemn the use of your cellular telephone too much, maybe just a little bit, but I guess I do highly recommend on your rides, take your earbuds out of your ear, pay attention to obviously traffic if you're on the streets, but listen to birds and other weird creatures like armadillos if you're on a mountain bike ride, or whatever else, maybe the ducks that I thought that I heard earlier this evening. Austin is on the migratory, lots of migratory birds pass through town, and I know that sometimes late at night I've heard some strange sounds that I can't necessarily identify, but I just appreciate, pay attention to. That's basically it. Unplug your devices and pay attention to natural life, plants and humans, and your pets. Thank you.
There's a trip hazard up here, FYI. You are coming up. Sorry, the wind slowly is coming, bringing us out. Okay. So I had asked former storytellers to come out and introduce current storytellers, and I think that's a really fun way, you know, of allowing them to come up and remind folks like what kind of stories we're interested in. It could be, you know, a story about your sister's bike that you were jealous of, a camp out that you went to, you know, any kind of memory or awesome adventure or bike. It doesn't have to be awesome, sorry. Bike adventure that you had. Awesome would be great. I asked Melissa sorry, to introduce this next storyteller, since I sort of started to notice that she had been hanging with the Friday coffee shop ride. I forget the actual name of that ride, I'm sorry. Don't mean to botch this. And I was really excited for her because I know she said that she wasn't really comfortable with cycling around cars, and that was a big thing, you know, that she talked about at one of our previous events. She was like, you know, in her early 30s, and she had recently learned how to ride a bike, and then suddenly she's doing triathlons and other amazing bike stuff. So I have loved watching her journey. Unfortunately, she wasn't feeling well, so she couldn't come out tonight and introduce this next storyteller, James Collins. So I am going to introduce James, and I'm really, really excited because I just met, you know, James through Melissa, and it sounds like he's got lots of really great stories to tell. So if you get a chance to talk to him anytime, maybe on the coffee ride, maybe on a Wednesday coffee ride, there's another opportunity for you if you love coffee and bike riding, which I definitely do. Who else does? Woo. No. Do you love coffee though? No, I really love coffee, so I'm super excited. I'm really excited to hear your story, James. Thank you so much for coming out.
Awesome. Thanks, Valerie. And thanks Eastside Pedal Pushers for hosting this. And speaking of the natural world, just these awesome pecan trees. Incredible. Yeah, so this is my story about riding bikes while living with Crohn's disease. On October 4th, 2020, I did my first 100-mile Century ride. It felt like 3 or 4 rides in one. I stitched together some of my favorite routes, or some of the routes that have become my favorites since I began seriously riding bikes a year and a half prior. I met up with some friends along the way and stopped at some of my favorite cafes. By the end, I was exhausted and a bit dehydrated, but I also felt like it was my best day on the bike yet. 4 days later, on October 8th, I had a few inches of my small intestine surgically removed. Over the past year, I had stopped responding to medication meant to keep my Crohn's inflammatory bowel disease in check. For the first time since I was diagnosed at age 8, I was consistently having symptoms again. I was having dull pain in my gut, aching joints, fatigue, and I had lost my appetite. My doctor decided it was finally time for that problematic segment of intestine to come out. I was told that I could go home as soon as the next day, and I just needed to be able to eat and pass food, you know what I mean? So that the doctors knew that my restitched intestines were working again. A week later, I was still in the hospital, and I felt like my body might never work again. As it turned out, my gut had essentially fallen asleep and stopped working, and I couldn't keep any food down. I dropped something like 20 pounds, and I felt incredibly frail and weak. And aside from brief walks and not long naps, I listlessly watched Netflix and the cyclists passing on the street in my window. I was in the hospital a week and a half after the surgery in total before I finally felt somewhat normal, could keep food down again, and was cleared to return home. It would be another month or so before I could really start riding my bike again. And that downtime offered a chance for me to reflect on how cycling had profoundly changed my life. And you know, as sort of a force that was almost on the magnitude of this chronic disease. I found that bikes have helped me trust my untrustworthy body, make peace with uncertainty, and find belonging and acceptance, which is something we all need. Through riding, I've rebuilt trust in my body. For a long time, having a chronic disease like Crohn's always seemed to mean that my body was inherently broken. Growing up, physical activity would stoke the pain in my gut. I couldn't ever win a race or contribute much to a game of soccer or football during recess. And after finding relief through treatment, my trust in my body was still broken. Failing at something is often a part of learning and growing, and somehow cycling has been an activity that I've been okay with failing and growing in. Maybe because I was already comfortable riding after commuting around Austin in college. But through cycling, I now have an activity that makes me feel strong and capable, as well as a clear motivation to take care of my body so that it can continue taking me new places. Even though my incurable Crohn's makes my body inherently untrustworthy, I've learned that I can still trust it enough to feel that it's a valuable part of me too that can take me new places. Crohn's is also unpredictable. Even though I've mostly been in remission, I've had flare-ups over the years in which that severe pain comes rushing back. I once even mistook a flare-up for appendicitis and really freaked out my roommate. This created a paradox for me. The more I became emotionally and physically invested in cycling, the more anxious I became that a bad flare-up could put me back in a hospital bed and take away my body and everything that I'd come to appreciate about it. I think everyone has anxieties and worries about what could happen in the future. My experience in the hospital with Crohn's seemed to give those anxieties truth and weight. However, I've made peace with this uncertainty by learning to appreciate and value what I'm capable of now in this moment. Each ride offers an opportunity to experience new places and meet new people and take on new challenges. I can't eliminate the possibility that I won't be able to ride bikes or be active in the future, but I can at least appreciate and value what I'm able to do now. Finally, discovering new friendships and communities through cycling has changed my perception of myself. I was hesitant to dive into the broader Austin cycling scene and all its subcomponents, thinking that I wouldn't be strong or capable enough to keep up or maneuver the bike and not crash everyone out. After riding solo with just a couple of close friends for years, I finally branched out after COVID vaccines were widely available. I discovered that riding with others and being seen doing something physical and feeling capable really for the first time validated the changes in how I felt about my body and my attitude about my health. Perhaps more importantly, it seemed to overwrite years of memories of being sick and frail as a kid because of Crohn's and not being able to keep up or play with others during recess. Things like that. So riding bikes has changed my relationship with my chronic illness by teaching me to trust my body, keeping me grounded in the present, and giving me a network of support for life. And happily, that first century ride that I did before my surgery has not been my last. That's my story.
Hello everybody, I'm Jordan. Doing sound back here. I'm here to introduce Arlen, who's going to be coming up to talk about a song he wrote about riding bikes and his experiences. Thank you very much to James for sharing that very personal story. It's amazing what bikes can kind of draw out of you and the experiences you have on them. So here's Arlen.
So, hi friends. I'm going to talk a little bit about Zen and bikes and how I came to write a song called Riding Bikes. So I grew up in Indiana mostly, and on a farm. So we lived in the country, surrounded by country roads in a small town, and we would work a lot on the farm. My parents were really into working hard, so we would work hard, but we had lots of things. Some of the things that I enjoyed was finding old mechanical things and working on them and fixing them, and so that is something related to bikes. And we had a big barn that had been my grandpa's barn, and the barn is a big red barn just like you would imagine in Indiana on a farm, and it was full of all these old bikes and all kinds of other things too. Farm equipment, mopeds, lawnmowers, all this stuff. So I enjoyed working on those things. And usually on Sundays we didn't work a lot on Sunday. We'd take a day off. And so sometimes when I was a kid, I remember have some good memories of we would decide to go on a bike ride. And so my brothers and sisters and I and my dad, we'd go out to the barn and we'd find some old bicycles. I mean, the tires would usually go flat in between when we rode them, because I don't think we ever bought new tires. We would just patch them and all that. And so we'd get the bicycles out, dust them off, patch the tires if they needed it, or usually they just needed some air, and oil the chain, and then we'd go on a bike ride. So those were some good memories. And then later in my teenage years and through my 20s, I moved to a small town not too far away, and I always loved biking and just getting old bicycles and making them work again. And so I had a garage just full of bicycles. And one thing I really loved about my town is we had a good trail system that went through. And so I would go on that trail just whenever I had like something on my mind, especially, or something that I needed to work through. It was a really good meditation just to go out on my bicycle. And when you're on a bicycle, you have to be present. You have to be watching what you're doing. It's kind of like a meditation for me. I know for different people it's different things, but it's helped me a lot at many times in my life to just get out and ride. And in the Midwest, we have what they call rails to trails. So they have these old railroads that have been converted into bike trails, and some of them are really beautiful, and they go across the farmlands and through the woods. And so so there was a trail called the Pumpkin Vine Trail that went through my town in Goshen, Indiana, where I lived. And so I had all these bicycles in my garage that I keep working, and when friends would come over, I'd always try to get people to go on bike rides with me. So that was something that I enjoyed doing. And then I moved to Texas. It's been over 10 years ago, but I was in college in East Texas, and I had some friends, and we started a band, and I've always enjoyed playing music and writing songs. We never were very good, but we enjoyed it. So I wrote a song called Riding Bikes, and it's just about that, like inviting friends to join me and go on a ride and just be fully present in the moment and experience it. And so that's basically what I wanted to share, I guess, just my experience of what bicycling means to me, and just the joy of sharing it with other people and inviting other people to join. And I love the bicycling community here in Austin. I've lived here 4 years now. Just about 4 years now. And so thank you all. And I think they're going to play my song. It's not a very good recording. It's like 10 years old. But maybe I'll do it live sometime.
to perform that, maybe during the camp out in the fall. I don't know, just saying. Could be, you know, there's a stage there. Okay, so that was awesome. I'm so excited about this. I can't thank you all enough, really, honestly. I wish I could thank you every time, but I don't want to sound like a broken record. Honestly, I really, really appreciate you all for coming. We're going to have sort of appreciation for y'all during the raffle prizes, and I hope that you win. If you don't win, you can take home a balloon. Seriously.
Seriously, take a balloon.
Appreciate y'all. Honestly, you really, like, this could not happen without you, without the volunteers. Honestly, this is really great. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Val, who are the
I didn't know I could
sponsors?
juggle until Bikestorynight.
Who are the sponsors?
Actually, I feel like I'm juggling, yeah, with Bikestorynight. It's a juggle. It's a skill I didn't know I had, but always wanted. But okay, so I'm really excited. We have 2 wildcard submissions. Was there anyone who wanted to enter the wildcard submission that didn't get a chance? Just checking. Okay, checking. So I'm gonna go ahead and let Preston. Somebody say Preston? Who said Preston? Brenda.
I'm flaking out.
You're not flaking out.
I'm tired.
Brenda's not flaking out. Brenda, you're going next. I'm sorry. Your card is up here. Everything. Okay, Ty, please come up. We're excited to hear your story.
Yay.
Race, road, and mountain bikes through China. Going to Beijing for birthday dinner. Oh, I'm very excited. Thank you for signing up for the wild card. Thank you all again for coming. Stay tuned for the raffle. Ty is awesome.
Okay, so let's set the stage a little bit. I got on my first bike in 1947. Who else has been riding that long? Yeah, good, okay, good. I want to tell a story about 1980. I don't know if y'all, how many of you remember 1980? Yeah, okay, good. I was working internationally, traveling into countries all over the world, in the petroleum industry, as you would expect from, and I had a chance to go to China, to go to Beijing, China. And it was difficult because they had just changed, they just worked through the Cultural Revolution and they weren't allowing Westerners into China. And I was one of the early Westerners that got into China in 1980. One of the things that really surprised me, I had a camera, I walked out into Tiananmen Square. Y'all remember Tiananmen Square, the tanks and the guy in front of the tanks? Yeah. Walked out into Tiananmen Square, and suddenly there were 30 people around me trying to speak English. And they learned English in school, but they'd never talked to somebody who spoke English. So all they wanted to do was talk. And that was so cool to be sit there and just talk to them. And so that worked pretty well. I tried to take a picture of a soldier with the hat with the red star on it. That was verboten. Sorry, you can't take that picture. But I did talk one of them out of his hat and brought the hat home. So what's the bicycle story about China in 1980? There's a main street. Think about Congress Avenue, okay? Well, the middle 2 lanes are for cars because there's only a car every now and then. The rest of it is for bicycles. And I thought, I've got to do this. So I went and rented a Flying Pigeon, which is the bicycle, and it's a, you know, it's a cruiser, great big, nice bike. It's got a chain guard, so you can't get your trousers in the chain, all that kind of stuff. And I decided to go out and ride with these guys. Okay, I got 5 lanes of bicycles. And we're not 1 person per lane. we're like 3 or 4 persons per lane. So we're 20 wide going down the street. And the cars are in that middle section. Okay, the car decides to turn right. And he comes over, and he goes to a full stop and just starts easing forward, and the cyclists start flowing around him, and I'm in the middle of this mess, and I'm thinking, okay, I can follow this. And once he gets over, they start flowing behind him, and he finally gets through and then accelerates out. And I thought, this is amazing. Somebody did a study on one of the intersections in Beijing, and they were moving both ways, something in the order of 30,000 bicycles an hour. And I was in the middle of that on a flying pigeon, and I thought, okay, I've reached nirvana now. I'm good. You know, I don't ever have to cycle another mile in my life. But I did. I ended up cycling on 6 different continents. I never got to Antarctica, sorry. Maybe someday I'll do that. But that vision in China of what can be when nobody drives a car, everybody drives a bicycle. That's what the world should be.
Yeah.
Okay? It really does. It just makes a huge difference. One more story about China. About 5 years later, I came home one day and my wife was at home and I said, hey, you got a 40th birthday coming up. You want to go out to dinner? And she said, sure. And I said, is Chinese okay? She says, yeah, that'd be good. We can go out to China. Where are you going? I handed her the tickets. We flew into Beijing on her 40th birthday. When we were in the air, this guy shows up next to her in the airplane, and she's reading, and she looks over, here's this guy, and he's got, you know, all these stripes on his sleeve, and she looks up at him, and he says, Mrs. Tyree, we just crossed the international date line, and I understand it's your birthday. I just wanted to be the first to wish you happy birthday. We landed in Beijing, and we both got on flying pigeons and went riding in Beijing on her 40th birthday. Thank you for this. We do a podcast called Celebrating Differences. I'd love to talk to you. If you're interested, go look at the podcast, contact me. Guess what my email is? safecyclist@gmail.com. All right? All right, where is Valerie? There she comes. All right. Valerie.
Thank you, Thais. Awesome. Seriously, Brenda? Seriously?
Past my bedtime.
Okay. Anyone else have a wild card? Do you want to sub for Brenda? I'm just gonna check. It's fine. I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm gonna tell you all a story. Okay, hopefully it'll be short. I just want to kind of just reiterate. I recently went on a bike ride, and I did not think that I could do it. It was out of my comfort level, but it was something that I'd been wanting to do for a long time. And I like literally like the night before, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to bow out of this ride. Like, it's too much. I can't do this. I realized, like, my comfort level is group rides. I only want to do like 5 miles at a time, and I want to have snacks. I want to have like breaks. I don't want that, like, I want the weather to be perfect, yada yada. You know, I kept like telling myself all of these things that I needed, and then I realized, like, I have to do this. I think I have to do this, you know? And so I wasn't really prepared as much as I wanted to be prepared for this ride, you know? I wanted to have a lot more gear. I wanted to have, you know, like the perfect dinner. I ended up having this like 888 the night before, which I thought was going to be great, carbo load, but it's just, you know, always like too much, 888, if you Vietnamese. I know, it's so good. Anyhow, I got up the next morning, I ate a tiny itty bitty muffin, and I met with a couple of folks that are actually here tonight. And can I get a what? Y'all here? I mean the folks that I rode with. Larissa, Sunny, Sammy, We rode like 24 miles just right outside of Austin in the Del Valley area, and it was amazing. And I'm super proud of myself. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. So, long story short, I did not think that I was going to do this. I was going to flake out. I was like, oh, I'll just meet y'all there. I'll bike. I'll drive, you know, all the gear there and things like that. And then I ended up doing it and, you know, rolling hills, completely out of my comfort zone. So if you've been feeling like doing something out of your comfort zone, I encourage you on your bike. I encourage you to do it. And, you know, if you need a hand, if you need someone to carry extra water for you or something like that, ask, like, you know, we are here for each other. Like, we don't have to do it all alone. I'm gonna cry now. Okay. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do the raffle prizes.
Yeah.
I don't have the raffle prizes next to me. They're probably in my car over here. But this is...
What a guy.
Now I'm really gonna cry. Okay, one of these is the grand prize, so I'm gonna try to do that. I'm gonna try to give that one later. I don't know. Eddie loaded. I feel like the heaviest one is probably the grand prize, so this is it. Super heavy. If you didn't know, the grand prize has, again, I think I said this earlier, it has a tube, a patch, a U-lock, a patch kit. Yes, my lovely. Oh my God, a safety pizza! So many good things, and these goodie bags. Yes. Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you to all of y'all for coming tonight. Thank you for your donation. I really appreciate you. We're gonna do some name drawings. Joe Wiek?
Yeah.
Joe
Yeah,
Wiek?
Joe.
Where's Joe at?
Joey.
Joe Wiek. W-I-E-C-K. I hope I'm saying that right.
Don't be shy, Joe.
Wick.
Joe. Joe. Where'd you go, Joe? Must be present to win.
Well, well, well.
Joe no more.
Yeah, you don't have to be present to win. I don't think this person, did the person leave? Karina?
Rita's here.
This is true story right here. Fact check. Fact check. Right here. Y'all want to check it out? No, I'm sorry, you don't get the grand prize. Third person gets the grand prize. Yes, rock that pizza. Get ready. Get ready to look safe. Yes. Okay. And the grand prize. Do you wanna pull it?
We need
The
a
grand
drum roll.
prize.
Drum roll.
Drum roll, please. Did you read it? Oh my God! I'm sorry. We can't have double winners. I'm sorry.
Karina.
Person. Not saying it was Karina, but it was Karina. She's out of control. If you don't know Karina, you will hopefully know her. Are you gonna plug something? We have time for plugs.
It's all Karina and Derek at the back.
Sheesh. Okay, I know this person left. I hope we have their email. Kulu. They came in. Is anyone friends with this person? Kulu McMorrow. Yeah? Yes. Okay, you know him? Okay, great. Okay, great. We need to connect. They won the grand prize. What? Oh my God. Amazing. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna call another name. Forget it. There's more prizes that we have in store somewhere to give you. Not tonight, but soon. Okay. Okay, also Danielle. Not here. Annie Marie.
Annie.
These people have to be here.
You gotta be here.
Nick, of course. Nick always with. Nick, no, you don't have to come up because the prize is not here right now. I'm sorry, but you have a prize coming.
Go up anyway. Go up anyway.
Wait, you can come up anyway. I'm sorry. You want to bow?
Come up, Nick. Go up, Nick.
Ow! Okay. We have to. We don't have time for this. Okay. I just want to say thank you to our sponsors. We want to appreciate Rambler, Shiner, and Eastsiders, who is just down the road here. Please frequent them. Please tag them in your photos. Please tag them and us in your photos tonight. We really greatly appreciate it, because at future events, then we can have more of those amazing drinks. And also please tag Eastside Pedal Pushers, because we want people to come here to this amazing space. Yeah. So now is the time. I want to let y'all come up. If anybody wants to plug anything. Yes? Okay, we have first plug. If you want to plug also, please come closer to this area over here so that you can just like come up. You have 42 seconds to plug whatever you want. Whatever you want. Okay? Does anybody else want to plug something? Yeah? Okay. I see a couple of plugs. After that, I'll come back up, make a couple more announcements. But all right, Lisa.
Plug.
Okay, 42 seconds. So, as you know, I own Dear Diary Coffee over there near 12th and Chacon. Dear Diary, it's a coffee shop for writers and creatives and all that stuff. Over the next 5 months, we have a series called XY Zine. We're stocking up the shop with zines and small press, and we're going to have storytelling and writers workshops and all sorts of stuff like that. It ends in October with 24-hour Comics Day. So if you like writing and stories and stuff, which I would assume you do, and you want to do nerdy events all across the summer, then visit deardiary.coffee. That's our URL, so not deardiary.com. Deardiary.coffee, and you'll see XY Zine and the whole event lineup. And if you're afraid you'll forget, I have free printouts of the Mike House story over there. Maybe you saw. And the last couple pages has info about XYZ. So take one of those things and take a picture of the info and then give the story to a friend. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Brandon, or BG, or whatever you might know me by. But we have a new Black History bike ride coming up on June 12th. It's going to be our Juneteenth ride. We are, this is one of our big public ones that is happening. So actually, we're really looking for volunteers to help us out, because as much as this is celebratory, ride through the city so we can learn history, because, you know, we got people who are trying to erase history all the time and trying to tell us that we can't, you know, learn critical race theory and all that. We need our allies to show up to help us with volunteers to help at corners, sweeps, all the kinds of positions that we could possibly need to keep people safe and be able to celebrate. So this is June 12th. We're going to start at the French Legation building that is like San Marcos and like 10th Street or something like that. But that is starting at 10 a.m. If you can help volunteer, we would love if you could send some information out to Black History Bike Ride to help us out, and we'll go from there. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Milos. Give it up for BG.
Yeah.
BG, I'm gonna be on that ride. You know it. You know I'm volunteering. You know I'm riding it. BG ropes me into a lot of stuff. He roped me into bike polo. Anything BG's about, I'm about. Cool. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of information about Austin Parks and Recreation. I work for the city. I work at Camacho Activity Center. It's in the Holly neighborhood. And one of the things I was really excited about that I participated in today was the South Walnut Creek Trail. The Greenbelt there had a new trail that was being opened up and promoted. It's part of Austin Ridge Riders and Trail Team Party. They're working with the city to revamp an old motorcycle bike trail into a hike trail and bike trail. And mountain biking has a lot of different levels. It's kind of like skiing and snowboarding trails where you have green, blue, black diamond, double black diamond. So it's a trail that you can hike on, you can bike on, and you can definitely mountain bike on it and traverse some really challenging obstacles. So I just wanted to come up here, introduce myself, tell y'all that I love you and I love being a part of the Austin bike community. There's a ride here every single day. I love going on coffee rides and mural rides and cruise rides, and I want to thank Val and I want to thank the Eastside Pedal Pushers for putting this on. I love coming to all the bike events, and get out there, ride your bike, and enjoy Austin Parks and Recreation if you have time to. Cool.
Hey everybody, Mike Mendez. If anybody doesn't know, I'm your local beekeeper. I just want to advertise. I hope everyone here is already following Social Cycling Austin, but if you're not, we are pushing back. You know, Anthony here is one of the co-leaders and one of the co-leaders for the Southern Walnut Creek Trail Ride. Speaking of Southern Walnut Creek Trail Ride, trying to get our numbers back up. So every Tuesday, 7:30, we do the full route, all the way up, all the way down. And if you feel like maybe it might be a little bit too much because we've got Heart Rate Hill up there, you know, we're always willing to take people of all, you know, levels of riding. And if you feel like you can't do the hill, well, we've got alternates, right? So I'm your alternate rider because it's hard for me to go up that hill too, right? So come on out, no matter what your skill level is. We're trying to build up those numbers every Tuesday, 7:30. Also, I'm gonna cut in here. If you have a swarm, I'm a beekeeper, I have to say something. If you find a swarm, it's swarm season, you guys. Swarm season goes all the way through June. So if you find a swarm anywhere in your neighborhood, if you find that somebody has found a swarm in their yard, it's usually a cluster of bees that land underneath an awning or on a tree branch or something like that, call me, contact me, I'll help them. I'll give them a new home in my bee yard. I have a bee yard in Creedmoor. Beekeeper Mike Mendez on Instagram and Facebook.
Beekeeper Mike Mendez!
Right on.
Go Valley Park, go Valley Park.
Hello, back. Another city-related announcement for you. I work for Austin Watershed Protection. We're the folks that maintain the city's lakes, creeks, and waterways. We are updating our department's strategic plan for the first time in about 20 years. And we have several rounds of surveys that will be open. We want to get as much community input as possible. So right now, you can go to, I believe it's rain2riveratx.com. The plan is going to be called Rain to River, so if you can Google that. We have a survey open right now where you can drop pins on a map and highlight, you know, where you might be experiencing problems related to flooding, erosion, or water quality. Particularly, you know, if you ride near creeks or on the lake or things like that, or just, you know, not related to bikes in general. You can highlight problems, you can highlight your favorite places, and that information is super valuable. It's absolutely going to impact decision-making around those natural areas. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that. Thank you.
This is an event that's not 100%. I don't have all the details yet, but it's being planned right now to honor the professional cyclist Mo Wilson, who was murdered here in Austin on May 11th. We're talking about doing something, a ride and a vigil for her next Sunday. So I guess keep an eye out on the socials. I'll share that with Valerie when we have it, and so she can share it out. So sorry to end on a kind of bummer note, but I think it's important that we take a stand as a community, that we don't, you know, violence is not tolerated, and we recognize that it's a problem, and yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
it's sort of like some different people from different groups, so we'll just try to get that to Valerie so she can put it on Bikestorynights Instagram. So yeah, thanks.
Absolutely. If y'all plugged something today, please send it to me. Send me your handles, and I can reshare it in a post or plug. Thank you so much to everyone, the wild cards, and y'all who came up to plug something. I really hope I'm not forgetting anything. Honestly, thanks again to Lee, Eastsiders, Rambler, Shiner, who made our night a little extra refreshing. And honestly, thank you to everyone for coming tonight. It really, really means a lot to me that you came and you made a donation and helped this event program that we have going on grow. So I hope that you can come to a future one. If you want to volunteer or be a part of it in any way, shape, or form, please reach out. We're always here to help y'all connect. That's our big goal. Share stories, connect with each other, continue to grow and move through stories, connecting each other. Thank you so much. Oh my God. Okay, I think that's it. I really have not looked at the program, my bad. I really wish that I had a fun story or joke to end this night with, but honestly, just love you. Thank you, each and every one of you. Appreciate you. There's a few more drinks in the cooler. Please maybe mix and mingle for a little bit longer. I think we have some time with Lee or at Eastside Pedal Pushers. Thank you all. Good night.